You're listening to the Alter Ego Lounge podcast, building a community over coffee and comics.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Alter Ego Lounge podcast. My name is Daniel. This is
Diana.
And we also have a very special...
Oh, my name is John Narcomey. You can just call me Narcomey. That's
Narcomey.
easy.
Okay.
Mr. Narcomey in the building. Thank you so much again for meeting us here today. We are shooting on location at Four Colors Fantasies in Rancho Cucamonga, California. Probably one of my favorite comic book shops to come into.
Definitely.
Right? They have an amazing selection.
It's a store.
Yes. Yes.
I've been
huge
collecting
store.
so long that I know what like the basement stores look like.
Right,
and
right.
This is, when I came here, I think it was 2008 when it was up the street.
Yeah.
I was like, they had employees with name tags,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh my God, this is so. Even though it was smaller, it was just already instantly
You-
better.
Seriously. I mean, I've been to plenty of comic book stores, and I can tell you that one of the first things that I look for is just the setup and just organization overall. And by far,
See,
this
me,
has
it's
been
just
one of the best
customer
ones. For sure.
Service is
Oh, hands
just
down.
surprises me. I mean, of all this, some stores are just awful. I mean, they're just. I mean, and I love them all. Like I still love going to little basement dusty stores and
Yeah.
looking because it just reminds me of being a kid. But you know, as a consumer, as an adult, like I wouldn't tell my friends to go to those stores. I would tell them to come here. Where
Right.
It's a store.
Yeah,
People will ask you if you need help. They got name tags.
for sure.
You know?
Customer service makes a huge difference. A huge difference.
Especially in comics.
Yeah.
people. Be nice.
Awesome. So again, the goal today for is just to kind of spotlight you and your work, what you're all about. So I'm just gonna start nailing with you a whole bunch of questions in rapid fire form.
All
I'm
right.
joking.
Well, why don't you guys talk about how you met?
Yeah, actually, it was actually here.
Yeah,
I
it was-
actually
yeah, it was
came
here.
inside to
Yeah.
pick up some comics, and you were here doing some
I
drawings.
do sketches here. What is it?
I think it was the Grant Morrison
one-
Green Lantern
Yeah.
that I came in.
Yeah, because I did the Deadpool holding the.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
that was
with
a
the mic. Yeah, I remember
that was
that.
an awesome.
Dude, you were like one of my top posts for the year.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Whatever happened, when I typed in your stuff, it was just like the perfect algorithm on Instagram. And
I
next
mean-
thing I know, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, there's 200 plus people liking this thing.
Honestly, like I saw the cover and I saw you working your magic, and I'm like, this is perfect opportunity. And then I was kind of hesitant to ask to put Deadpool, on a Green Lantern cover, and you're like, yeah, let's do
No,
that.
That's not even the worst stuff. That's all right. That's easy stuff.
Yeah,
I've
man.
had some weird requests over the years.
What I mean, let me see. What are
The
what-
first, let me see, because I started doing this full time back in '08, and so that was like my first official Comic Con was like '09 the next year,
Okay.
and we had the company I was working for. We had a booth there and everything, and this little girl, because most people they have little sketchbooks and they'll have themes. I've seen babies or Captain
Right.
America or chibis or everybody is women or whatever. There's always kinds of stuff, and this girl, she had one, and it's her theme was poop. So she had all these insanely talented artists drawing poop.
That is fantastic.
And so she's like, "Can you draw me poop?" I'm like, "Why not?"
Yes.
That's so weird.
Yes,
That is
that was so
awesome.
random. So I drew. That's probably the weirdest one. And then there's like creepy, because they do get creepy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
I've,
can imagine.
I've had to draw and this guy's like notorious for. If you're an artist in the comics in Southern California, you haven't made it until you've gotten a commission to draw a mermaid in a business suit by this one guy.
Really?
Yeah. I had a buddy tell me about him years ago when I started working. And I was like, dude, you're so full of it. Like, that guy doesn't exist. Come on. That's such a stereotype.
Such
That's
an
just so weird.
oddball.
And that's such an oddball request, right? And he's like, no, this guy brings reference and everything. And then when he started laying all this on me, I'm like, no, you're totally lying. There's nobody walking around with folders full of fish, women, and business suits. Like, who does? What
That
kind of
is-
weird
that is-
fetishistic combination is that,
Yeah.
right? And one day I'm at it was like the first or second Long Beach Comic Con ever. And I'm boothing there, and he found me.
Oh, that is hilarious.
He was real. I've
Oh,
done
man.
like,
Funny.
he's found me 3 times.
Wow,
Like,
that is hilarious.
Over the 10 years or 11 years of my career, he has found me.
That is hilarious.
I'm like, oh my God, he's real. They weren't just making it up.
And then you're like, I've made it.
Yeah, I made it. Yeah, like I am a professional now. Like, it wasn't the fact that these guys been paying my rent forever. It was just this one guy.
That is hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah, we're gonna have to find him. I want to see his Instagram page.
Right.
And see
Right.
I don't think
all
this guy
the-
has.
or instead of let alone his living room. I want to see what that looks like.
Like, and he's like perfectly nice. Like, I'm sure. I'm sure.
We
But you
need
know,
to
some
get
people
him
just
on-
got a
on here
vibe,
and
man. And,
interview.
Yeah, we
you
need to
know,
find this guy.
Yeah, like some people just kind of got a vibe, and then when it came out of his mouth and the whole story came together, I'm like, oh, dude, you're the guy.
If you're out there, hit us up. Alter Ego Lounge on Instagram or Facebook. We definitely want to see some of the images you've come across.
well,
in some of the
I would be
collections.
curious to see because I know
Right.
he pays some guys really well to get what
That is
exactly
awesome.
he wants, and it's not like because he didn't ask for any like they weren't in sexual positions or anything. You know? He just wanted, and he showed me the picture of the face and the suit and the fish body.
Wow.
So I just want this. It's happened to me, and I don't even think he knows I'm the same guy, but it's happened to me 3 times. Like he's
Wow.
because I always kind of my style kind of changes, so I
Yeah.
think he just keeps thinking I'm a new
New guy.
and he just likes it.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's great. Awesome. Okay, now so where are you from originally? Are you
Oh, I'm
locally?
from Corona, yeah.
You're from Corona, so
Yeah.
you're born and raised.
Born
out.
and raised. Well, I guess if you want to be technical, I was born in Kaiser and Fontana. But
Okay.
my whole family, my mom's family's from Corona.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, like my grandmother, born out there. She was Cinco de Mayo queen when she was 17.
What?
She-
Okay.
My grandfather like went AWOL to come get her. And
Okay.
like, it was all crazy. But yeah, if my grandmother didn't pass away recently, about 4 or 5 more years, it would have been like a complete 100 years. She would've been
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. And you said your parents are from same area too.
Yeah, my mom is from Corona. My dad is off a reservation in Oklahoma.
Okay.
So,
Very cool. How
I got a
about?
weird little family.
Yeah. I mean, what's your family dynamics? I mean, you got brothers and sisters.
Oh man, I got a huge. Well, not huge, I guess. I got. I got one sister from my mom.
Okay.
My dad. He was an overachiever, man. So he's got like. I got a few other siblings spread out there, and but we stay in touch, do our thing. But,
Awesome.
but it's the whole just Mexican and Native American thing. It's always been kind of weird, especially his whole family is from Oklahoma and Kansas, and I'm 100% from California.
Yeah.
So it was always just a cultural shift.
Yeah,
Every time
yeah,
I
yeah.
visited my grandparents and stuff out there, just kind of adjusting to the slowness of the whole
Yeah.
thing, man.
Mhm.
Like, oh man, that'll give you some time to think.
Yeah.
I remember being out there like 18. I got into some trouble down here, and I got sent out there, and I had to help my grandma stay out there for like an extended period of time,
Grandma set you right.
and it was like prison, man. I just worked out in red, dude. Like there was nothing to do because the town our grandma lived is a town called Kansas City, Kansas,
Mhm.
and it's spelled Arkansas City, but don't say that; they get mad at you.
Okay.
So you gotta say Kansas City, Kansas. And it's like a 15-minute walk to Oklahoma. Like you could cross the border. This is how small the dinky this. Little,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful in the wintertime when it's all snowy and it's all old school Main Street and stuff. But during the rest of the time, it's just kind of nothing to do, especially when you're 18 and from California. So it was just like, it was just.
I can
It's
imagine trying to fill up that time.
Well, I
trying to-
just found a job as quick as I could.
Yeah.
Got a plane ticket and came home in like 3 months. Like I didn't even. I was like, dude, I'm 18. Why am I even listening to you people? Like I
So
can even go whatever
so
I
at heart,
want.
definitely like a California boy. Always.
Yeah, I mean, there was times, I'm like, I feel like every Californian falls in and out of love with the states as you go through life.
Amen.
So I've had those moments, but yeah, I'm always here. Like, I mean, I've had opportunities to go other places, but this is it, man.
Yeah, I feel you. I've had a chance to live out of state too, and there's nothing like Southern California. It's a hit or miss sometimes. I feel you. It's a love-hate relationship.
Well, it's
definitely.
almost like I just wish it was a little cheaper to live here.
Oh, amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Good
Like,
Lord.
but that's like my only complaint. Like
Mhm.
I can't, there's nothing else to really,
It's
You
the
know, the-
sunshine.
yeah.
Sunshine tax on everything.
right? That's what you get for the good weather. Yeah, like I was out in Texas. My sister's in Texas in November, and oh my God, it was just cold. Like as soon as I got off the plane, I was like, oh, what the hell?
Yeah, it can drop down.
Yeah, and
pretty
like, but
bad.
they're cold for a whole season. They're cold
Mhm.
for 3 months, and I'm like, oh, we're gonna be cold for like 3 weeks, and then I'm good for like
Right.
the rest of the year. Like
Yeah.
I could deal with California winter.
Yeah. Is anybody else in your family besides you artistic? I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be, drawing wise or
I would
musicians.
murder them
or-
all. No, I'm just yeah. There's so something either in the water in Corona or the water in Oklahoma, man.
Okay.
My dad, he was artistic. He actually wanted to be an animator when he was younger, but you know, the time he grew up in and the way it just wasn't something. I mean, it's just like now, you know, people don't understand that you can make a living, and there's no real push towards that when you're coming off a farm, man. Like,
Right.
you know, it's just work, work, work.
Right.
And so he never followed through. But I remember seeing his dad, my grandfather, just stare at something and just draw it instantly, and it was just like magic to me. I mean, like just utter magic, right? And then my mom, she's crafty, she does her thing, and my grandmother, her mother painted, and you know, and then you know, but I got the art and the storytelling, man. That was like my thing, you know, and I got nephews that are like opera singers and shit. Like, they're all crazy, musically talented, and
So impressive.
it,
You got
it ain't gonna be me, man. I ain't
Yeah.
singing. That's my charity to the world, not singing and freaking. So I just get to draw pictures, man, and tell stories. That's my clique.
That's awesome. You guys, it sounds like a good line of talented people in the family. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, like, yeah. It's all fun to have. You know, it just gets It's like when my nephews talk about wanting to do these things for a living. It's when I kind of get, because it's tough.
Yeah.
You know, like it took me a long time to legitimately pay all my bills with this. You know, yeah.
What did or let's see if we can start from the beginning. I mean, what about when did you first start drawing? I mean, I'm guessing as a kid, but what?
Oh, yeah, according to legend, it was like 3, I guess.
3 years old, huh?
Yeah. Dude,
Where
my
were
mom
you? Where
will
were you
never
tagging
let
up?
me live it down. My sister neither, man, because I stole her paint to do it.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, that story. I was a little kid. Obviously, I was 3. Can't get much littler than that, I guess. And my sister had green Crayola paint, and we were supposed to be asleep, and we shared a room, you know. And you know, I got up. Everybody was asleep, and I snuck over. I just felt the need to create something. Middle of the night, it hasn't changed much. So I go and I still the paint. It's all dark. I didn't even turn on the light,
Right.
so I don't even know. I probably have to. I mean, I remember now it's green, but I didn't. You know, just grabbing paint, man, and I go on the wall and I just start. I painted a big old
Oh
circle
my
on a stick
gosh.
figure
Yes.
for Dad, and I whole thing. I painted. We had my grandmother lived behind us, and so we had like these. So I painted the house.
my
But I mean, there's
God.
3-year-old stick figures, but they're still, you know, big, medium. Me, the smallest, you know, and my dad came from work, and he always chucked on us at the time, and he opened the door, you know, I'm not in the bed, so he's telling my mother, you know, where's Jay at, you know, and Mexican mom, of course, she's like instant panic, you know, like, oh, where's he at?
Yeah, yeah,
you know, because
yeah.
they saw the screen open and everything.
Oh,
you
no.
know,
Oh my
like,
God.
so she's just like, oh, what are you gonna do? My dad's like, well, calm down, and he opens the door again, and this time he opens it all the way, and it hits me back in the head because I was behind the door. I was painting. I was in the trance. And you know, I said, "Ow!" Obviously, and he looked behind there. They turned the light on, and I was in trouble, boy, because it was like a big chunk of the wall, dude. And then my sister was mad because it was her paint. But yeah, I've never stopped, man. It's been. You know how kids play with toys, man. That's how I played.
Yeah.
You know, I sat down, scribbled, and made up stories and drew pictures. And
I mean, I could imagine during school too. I mean,
the teachers hated me.
yeah, how did
Any
that-
inch of blank paper was just obliterated. Just-
really.
I couldn't do. I mean, I still have the same habit now. Like if I'm
Yeah.
sitting down, there's a receipt and a pen.
That's
You better
it.
take all that away from me
Yeah.
because it's just not. You know, you can see the numbers on there. But it's just. Well, now it's like a habit, but. Yeah, like back then, teachers were not fond of any of that, you know. But you know, what are you gonna do?
What about your friends? I
Yeah,
mean,
they were cool with it. I mean, it was just I didn't have any real friends that did what I did,
okay.
you know. And growing up,
You didn't get like
kind of the way
best artist in high school, or
I kind of kept it a little undercover.
Okay.
You know, like, growing up the way I grew up, it wasn't like something. You know, I would do the tagging for people and do their names and stuff, but the comic book stuff I would just do at home. You know.
Yeah.
Like in the '90s, Image was kind of on the news, and like
Mhm.
Youngblood and Spawn was cool for a minute, so I got to kind of peek out for a little bit,
Yeah.
be like, oh, I could draw these guys too.
yeah.
But it wasn't until after high school when I was just like, fuck it, man. Like this is who I am. This is what I do. Like if people still want to come at me or whatever, then I'm fucking here. You know,
Yeah.
like it's not a,
Mm-hmm.
I've won fights, I've lost fights, whatever. And once I got over that little hump, then it was easier to take it more seriously and start
Yeah.
looking at it as a career. I mean, because I think at 17 is when I started going to Comic-Con to look for work.
Awesome.
So
Wow.
yeah.
What who would you say are your biggest influencers? People that have definitely inspired you to get to where you are now, or maybe had a big impact with you,
How much time we
especially
got?
maybe had like a big impact on you on a young when you were younger, or it could be
I'm like this is the thing. Like I was very I'm a very I mean if you're a cartoonist, most people are just very solitary in general as artists or things. You know, you just kind of spend time with yourself. You know, and so when I was home alone, man, I would just geek out on this stuff, and I would like deep dive before the internet. Before I would just deep dive. I would ditch school to go to the library to find out more about comics, where they came from, who they're about. You know, and like one of my major, who I still love and adore, is the creator of Popeye, E.C. Cigar.
Okay.
Mostly Chrysler Cigar. Popeye just turned 90 too, like a couple days ago.
Awesome.
And I discovered, because I remember the cartoon when I was little. Like I watched the cartoon all the time, you know, Looney Tunes, all like the same thing, you know. And one of the time I was in junior high, I was out in Kansas and bored because there's just nothing fucking there. So I wandered down to the library, you know, and I'm in the library and they had this collection book of, and I own it now. Like I finally found it and I bought it, but they had this collection book of all these old comic strips by E.C. the original Popeye strips, which I've never seen before, and that changed my life. I mean, that right there was just it was just a whole new thing with storytelling. It opened me up to all the comic strip artists, opened to all the guys that inspired the guys I was looking at, and then I got to kind of reverse engineer all this stuff because I mean I hit with the 90s. You know, I was drawing like Jim Lee or not Jim Lee, fuck that guy, but no, just joking. But I was drawing like, you know, McFarlane and Liefeld. Like I was really attracted to that energy and that angst and whatever that is that they were doing that I thought was connecting to me, you know. And so I was drawing horrible though, because those guys technically, you know, they're cartoonists more so than they are like technicians. Some of the guys on the wall now, and it's great when you're them and that's your voice, but you know when it's just bad habits you're picking up, you know. And so when I discovered these other guys like Alex Raymond and Milton Caniff and all these guys that, you know, come from the comic strips that knew how to draw, that was just, you know, then it led me to like guys like Wally Wood, and you know, then I discovered Jack Kirby, and I was done. That was it, dude. Like from the cartoonist to Kirby, man, and to that guy. You know, and that's the comic book side. We haven't even got to the fine art, and Matisse and Picasso and Gauguin and all those other. Yeah, I mean, it's all just. And then of course you got the writing because I write and everything too, and so it's just, I just a sponge, you know. And if I like it and it works and it's something that speaks to me or even makes me uncomfortable or something that can engage as a conversation in me, I'm willing to investigate enough to see if it could become part of what I want to do or put out there, you know. But yeah, there's so much to be influenced by. Like it's not even just. Like if I meet one, I hate people that just have the easy. Oh yeah, it's just that guy. I love that guy. Yeah. I'm like, well, screw you, man. Like I've been struggling for years. Yeah. Like I wish I just had one guy I wanted to draw like there's guys that I want to draw like Dave Finch. I'm like, but that's so easy. There's already Dave Finch, man. Find all your shit and turn it into something. You know.
Do you have a set routine that you do in order to sit down and draw, or is there like a certain mind state you got to listen to like a certain
I gotta get
song
paid, man.
You know? I got to make sure there's a fat check coming.
I mean it in the beginning it was tough. I mean because I've been working all my life for other people, and then to get disciplined enough to, you know, now I don't answer anybody myself. I can sleep in if I want. You learn real quick that you can't. You don't get to do the stuff that you think you could do when you have your own job. Yeah, because you're the only guy there. Like if I don't work on a Monday, that means I got to work on a Saturday. You know, if I don't, you know, and so it was a hard learning curve for me to not have a boss. You know, because in 2008 I got hired to be the creative director and develop the properties for a company called High Tower Comics, and that's how I started my entire career, if you want to call it that. You know, and I had, you know, I just had to start from running as soon as I got there, man. Like this was a huge investment by my boss, and I had to hire people. I've never hired anybody before. I've never done any of that, you know. I didn't even know Photoshop, and I had to learn this stuff on the weekends. I was hiring guys to do this shit, you know. Like it was a complete crash course and everything, and the creative class course, and okay, now I finally got the job I want. Now I'm not doing part-time gigs anymore. Now I have to draw every day. And that's a lot of things I don't think a lot of people understand, is that when you have to draw every day, that's a lot. Like, you're not prepared for, if you're just drawing at home for fun, it's your hobby, and you think you want to do it as a job, you need to sit down for 5 days and do it for 8 hours a day and see if you can handle it. And then you can kind of get a better understanding of what, and it's going to be more than 8 hours a day. Like
and you're not drawing just what you
yeah,
want.
yeah.
Like, people
When
are
you
telling
work
you
with-
what to draw.
Well, I got lucky with Hightower because where they were my properties, you know, so I was able to, you know, but I had to be, you know, I couldn't do them all, you know,
Right.
so I had to, you know, bring people in and do other things. But you know, after Hightower, because that company folded about 2.5 years, it was like a horrible time to start business in 2008, man. Like,
Yeah.
I'm surprised you made
Yeah.
it to 2010 and a half, you know,
Yeah.
and especially comics. Comics is so rough, man.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, that was a whole other learning curve too. Was, oh, now I'm got people paying me to draw out their scripts, and now I got to do this and do this, and it's just, you know, it does become work, you know. But as long as you remember that you love it and this is what you're here for, you know, it's not a, you know, there's some people they don't like the work part of it because it takes the fun out of it for them, you know. And there was like this. Well, last year I was sick for about 11 months, but the year before that I took a huge break. Like, I was doing almost like 2 conventions a month, and I was just done. You know, I was just burnt out. Like, I needed to slow down, man. You know, and because it turned to work. It just wasn't fun. You know, it wasn't. I wasn't creating as much because I was doing more commercial illustrations, and it wasn't what I got into this for. You know, I broke my back, slept on my office floor, did all that because I wanted to make comics. You know,
Right.
And then at the end, you know, it's hard money for smaller companies, you know, and I'm not working for the big guys. You know, I like my independence, you know, and so, you know, at the end, you just kind of got to make your choices and figure out what you want to do. And yeah, I took a break. Now I'm back. It's fun again doing the thing. But yeah, when it turns to work, some people can't get their head around that, you know, because it's not always the stuff you want to do.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, to kind of branch off that question, I mean, what would you say to younger artists or writers that are looking to be inspired or wanting to put their work out there? I mean, what's something that you can give or say, like, motivation-wise?
You guys are in the right time. There's no excuse, none whatsoever. I wish this is how it was when I was coming up, man. Like, I made my first mini. I was 25 years old, man. I had to put it together at a Kinko's. I had to bribe the guy with donuts.
So I
didn't have to pay $5. It was like a quarter a stitch, a staple for a saddle stitch, man. So I bought the dude donuts. Me and my buddy are back there, you know. I sold 6 copies of it at the Ape, and I thought I was just God. Like, oh my God, people bought my stupid book, you know. I didn't even pay for the book. Like, I spent way more money to get there than what I sold, you know. But that was it, though. There wasn't Comixology. There wasn't even digital printing that existed. That was, I mean, the closest you got was going to Kinko's. That was your digital printing, and it was shit printing, right? And you know, there was the avenues that Instagram. I mean, Instagram wasn't even there in 2008 when I started. Like, all this stuff that's Kickstarter and GoFundMe. I'm like, and then the access to just setting up easy web pages to do. I mean, it's all out there for you. There's really the only thing stopping people now is just people. It's just yourself. You know, if you want to make the book, make the book. If you want to have fun and just make something for fun, make something for fun. You know, and put it out there. I mean, that's the bottom line. Like, whether I'm getting paid for this stuff or not, the thing is, you know, if nobody's seeing it, then, you know, I'm just, you know, playing with myself, man, and that's fun. But it's always better to play with others, right? You know? Like, you don't want, you know, and that's great. There's the whole. It's just amazing right now. Like, the whole is just amazing.
It's the social media aspects, being able to have a platform so easily at your palm. It's a huge
I mean,
benefactor.
Just when I discovered Tumblr back in 08 and 09, like, I was like, holy shit, this is great. Where's this been all my life? I could pull a whole image, I could tell a whole story on this one platform without having to spend thousands of dollars going to print, you know?
Yeah.
And it's, you know, and I don't know, I've been around a lot, so I hear all this. It usually runs around the same stuff. Most people that don't want to do it, it's always the same excuses, you know. And the guys that do it, they just do it, man. Like, I don't.
Right. They
it's
say,
not
like,
the-
oh, I don't have time for that.
I could spit out the most inspiring thing right now, but it's not gonna matter. If you're gonna fucking do it, you're gonna fucking do it, and if you're not, you know, that's cool. Less competition for
I
me.
mean, sometimes people just need to hear. Sometimes people need to just hear that. Just get out there and do it. They need that little bit of push. So that's good.
Yeah.
So let's see. What type of comic books did you read as a kid, or did you read a lot of comic books as a kid? Right. So let's. I mean, what were your major storylines or comics that
Or your favorite heroes?
Oh man, this is another long list. Of
I
stuff.
know.
Yeah. Okay, we'll stick with this.
Well, what was your first comic? Do you remember?
It was a Mad magazine.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. My dad got it for me. I was sick. You know, kids, you're sick. They just get you shit to shut you up. You know, right? So my dad's like, "Well, here's a stack. Go whatever." And he grew up with Mad magazine. You know, and he still called them funny, but he called them funny books till he died.
Funny
I
books.
don't think I ever heard him say comic books. 'Cause
Okay.
in Oklahoma or Canada, they're funny books because
Yeah.
they're all humorous.
Okay.
And so that's what they called them. And so he got me mad, and whatever was in that, it was just sparked something. And so next time I'm out, and he's like, "Well, you want another Mad magazine?" And I'm looking at it, and there's like a Conan magazine.
That's
They used to
awesome.
sell Conan magazine size at 7-Eleven, you know. So I
Yeah.
was like, "Well, I want that one." And then I found love with Conan. Like he's one of my
Okay.
favorites too. And then it just rolled on, man. Like X-Men was huge when I was in elementary school, and then just for pretty much all the same stuff. Anybody else kind of, I went through the same kind of. There was no like special shit I found because I draw pictures, you know. It was
Right.
just, this is what's here. This is what I like that too. Wolverine, love drawing that guy.
Okay.
Mhm.
You know, and then of course when Image hit, that was it for me, man.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I already knew in elementary school that I wanted to do this for a living. You know, I discovered how to draw comics the Marvel way, and I was like, and then I realized people got paid for this. I'm like, oh yeah, it's done. Like I know exactly what I do for my life.
Yeah.
All you actually are just tripping, you know, and so it was just the Image hit, and that was even better. Like it's even more exciting, and then the artwork was just, it wasn't even this. I mean, the celebrity was cool. It was cool seeing these guys news get some, because everybody, I mean, people just talk shit on comics for forever.
Yeah, when
like they're
Image-
so cool now compared to when I was coming up.
I mean, when Image came out, it was a huge change. It was
Right,
a
yeah,
really
it
huge
was-
breakaway.
I mean, they was the first company to hit the top sales charts over Marvel and DC, and they're still the only company that have done that. You know? And it was 5 guys. It was just 5 guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
it was
just
such a huge
slaughtered this
move.
thing.
Being able to have so much of freedom too for those guys
Oh,
at
yeah.
that point too was huge. It was a huge platform.
Well, you need to see, if you haven't seen it, you need to see the documentary on Amazon about them. It's an Image documentary. and
Okay.
It is hilarious and great. It is. Todd McFarlane's probably like the best thing comic books has ever created. That dude is
Hands
just,
down
is
one
just,
of the greatest.
Oh man, he's just that guy's like my spirit animal. And Liefeld does a great McFarlane impression. You get to see
Okay.
that on there. But they talk about it. They talk about it. They were, and this was. I mean, people get it. The history of this all wrong too. They always, Image ruined comics. They created the speculation market, and that speculation market didn't exist till like almost like, I don't know, the end of the 90s, like 97, 98.
Yeah.
Image hit when I was a freshman, before I was a freshman.
Yeah.
And they were already selling millions because people were coming there for them, and that's what a lot of people forget. They want to talk shit on Liefeld or how McFarlane drew or can't draw feet or whatever, too many buckles or too many veins or talk about the splat. But they don't understand. Like, people weren't buying those stories. People were buying millions of copies of these books because they loved what they were looking at, and you couldn't get that anywhere else. And a lot of stuff now, it's like almost feels like we're playing catch up with video games. We want to try and draw so realistic that we can compete with what's on the movies, and it used to not be that way. It used to be, let's just draw crazy shit because this is the only place you can see this crazy shit, and this is amazing. Here's my 75 cents. That's how old I am.
I mean, if you look at comics in general, you can definitely see the shift of artwork. And yeah, when it comes to the 80s got interesting, but the 90s, there was something about the early 90s.
When it was seemed like more of a, even when I would talk to artists in the late 90s, they were still, before everything got everything's almost so methodical now how to get a job. Oh, you want to work for Marvel? This is what they're hiring. This is kind of their house style. This is way you want to work for. And that's how you get that job. And which makes sense, and that's totally cool. There's nothing wrong with that. People got to eat. I love that. And if Marvel came and offered me a book, I would do it just to say I did it. No problem with that whatsoever. But when I was coming up, other artists that were already Paul Chadwick, J.H. Williams, the guys that I would talk to at shows, Derek Robertson, they were all talking about having your own voice. man, because the editors got to recognize you and see you, and that was kind of the flavor of that time. There wasn't this big hunt for house styles because they just broke from that. Because the '80s and the '70s, it was all house styles. I mean, it was all really kind of just boring, minus a few guys like Golden and Perez, or you know, but the rest of it was just kind of stale, and that's also what made guys like McFarlane and Liefeld stand out. Because I mean, what they were drawing, even though it may not have been correct, was still just wow compared to all the correct stuff. That wasn't. It's very pedestrian, you know.
Yeah. What would be your favorite? I know you mentioned Wolverine earlier, but what would be, let's say, your top 3 favorite characters to draw?
Oh man. Well, Batman.
Okay.
You can
Dark
so many
Knight.
ways, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Wolverine, Batman, Wolverine. I don't even know if there's a third one, man. Well, probably like Cable or Deadpool. Like they're really fun to just. Yeah. And they're like nostalgic for me. I mean, like I just sold my first appearance of Deadpool. You know,
awesome.
Like like I had the whole run. You know?
Yeah.
I really need it. I got the trades now.
Awesome.
You know, so yeah, just. You know, I sit down and draw something just to start the day or whatever. It's got to be just something fun and easy. You know, to get that crap drawing out of the way before I start everything else. So those are probably my go-tos the most.
Do you have like a certain routine during the day? Like you sit down every day and draw?
Wasn't that a question before?
Yeah, but I mean, is it every day you have
it's
designated drawing
supposed
time?
to. It should be.
Yeah. Do you find it easier to do that early in the morning or late at night?
Oh man. It just depends. For me, it depends on just how my schedule fits. I'm notoriously graveyard shift like all day. I worked it as a machinist. I worked at warehouses, you know, and I just kind of carried with me.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's a lot of stuff I got to do during the day, running my own business and stuff. So I do my best. It's every once in a while I have a nice couple weeks where I'm up like everybody else, and then it all goes back to. So it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, you got to work. You got to draw. It doesn't matter if it's snowing, raining, if you're hurting or whatever, you got to do it. And if you can't do it, then, you know, you got to figure something else out, I guess. But yeah, my basic routine is pretty simple, man. It's just, you know, waking up, I work on my kitchen table. I have a nice little board there. And what is it? I just make some coffee, sit down, you know, put a little, I dip every once in a while, put a little dip in and just put my headphones in, turn on something and just do the thing, man.
Awesome.
And, you know, try to take a break every. This is for all you artists out there, especially you noobs. Take a break every 2 hours. Stand up, stretch, do
That's
something. Because boy, trust me, man, that'll catch up to you real quick.
Did you take some classes or go to school?
Not really.
No.
No,
It's all self-taught.
Yeah, most of it. I did like 2 classes in RCC, junior college, because I had to take 1 to qualify for the figure drawing, and I couldn't afford studio figure drawing. So I was like, well, I could just get on my own and do this stupid thing or the FAFSA or whatever. So I did that, so I could actually have that experience. That was one of the things they would tell me when I was going to Comic Cons to do that. So I hunted that down, figured out how to do that, and did a year of that. Didn't really listen to the teacher, so I got like a horrible grade. Like I have these amazing pieces, but because they weren't really on the topic of everything, I think I got like a C or a D in my own figure drawing class, and they paid me to do this stuff. Keep paying me, trust me, I'm totally worth it. I would get an A now.
That's awesome.
Do you ever teach classes or?
Oh, I'm a horrible teacher.
No.
It's so like none of it makes sense until I start. You know, like I can't tell you step 1 until I'm like, oh, I do this first. Okay, it's all, you know, like it just
comes
yeah,
natural.
well, yeah, because I got like I mean, even talking here, I got so many things.
Yeah,
you know, it's like Chris. We always talk about having something here. And well, I'm notorious for cussing constantly, and so that's the other thing too. If you have kids here, I always got to watch myself, you know. But but yeah, that's always like I got friends that do that. I got Javier Hernandez. He's creator El Muerto. He teaches classes out in LA and stuff, and does subbing but he teaches like comic books. Like I think he even does a talk at one of the colleges out there and stuff on the regular, and you know, and I think that's great. Like I wish I could. You know, if I ever did do it, he'd be the first one I call. Like, how do I do this, man? Where do I start?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, are there any projects that you're working on now?
Oh, yeah. I got a book that's almost actually done right now. It's called Elsewhere Adventures.
Okay.
It's super cartoony. It looks nothing like this.
Okay.
Okay.
And it is completely bizarre, totally R-rated. It is just
Yeah.
off the wall. I created it one night doing 24-hour comic book day here, and I added like it was 24 pages. I finished it here, and then I added a whole other like 18 pages, like 36 pages.
Wow,
32
awesome.
Pages. And I made sure I drew every one of those pages in an hour, so it had the same flavor and energy as the
Okay.
thing. But it's just it's just this assassin bunny, this hitman that's a bunny.
Yes.
And he just kind of doesn't. He's not excited about his job no more, man. It was kind of the way I was feeling at the time. So I was just thinking he's just trying to procrastinate as he has to go. He has to kill a guy.
Okay.
So this is him. Just fine. I'm gonna go kill this guy. And he ends up trying to hunt this guy down at a strip club, and then he meets his buddy, and they do drugs together. And then it's like, oh, I should finally go kill this guy now. And then that's pretty much, you know. And then that's just his thing. It's just this fucking weird random buddy.
Awesome.
This weird fuck all city. There's just this cartoon buildings and spires and tiki homeless people and fucking platypuses watching strippers blow up and shit. Like it's just bizarre,
it
but
sounds insane.
It's fun and it looks the layouts are great, and so it's all done. I got to get the copy edited, and then I have to finish the gray toning, and that'll be the first thing that comes out. And then I'm prepping now though for Cinco de Mayo to have Cholo Libre Volume 1. Which is like what I'm most known for, I guess.
Awesome.
Recently, anyways.
Awesome.
Does anybody ever ask you guys questions?
No, you want
No,
to ask me?
it's here.
Yeah. What do we got? Well, what are you comic books you guys like, man? Like,
Let me see. I mean,
let's engage.
for myself, honestly, I've always been like a huge X-Men fan. I mean, the first comic I picked up with my own money was the Jim Lee 91 X-Men #1, and that was
Everybody
it.
picked that one.
That was it. That
Yeah.
was one that kind of stuck with me. I don't remember reading the comic that much, just kind of flipping through the pages, making stories up myself. And it wasn't really until I got, a lot older, out of high school, out of college, that I went back, started diving into the stories and reading them and really soaking them up. And the more I kept reading, the more I started to realize, like, these Marvel and DC characters are huge, iconic, almost Greek, like God, mythos characters. But I felt like it was easier for me to dive into new stories like Image. Like Images are always providing new, interesting concepts, and they're just great, different things that are happening.
Yeah,
over
it's
there.
kind of it's rough right now for the big two.
Yes.
If you're new, because there's so much.
There is,
It's
yeah.
so
So much.
unwrapped there. You're like, oh my gosh, like I feel bad. Like I've been off of it forever, and even knowing everything I know coming back to it was like, I don't know. The past 10 years though, like what is all this?
Yeah, there's so many new characters to keep up with, and there's so much storyline to really kind of follow. It's intimidating for a new reader, but still, every once in a while you still get a really good.
Well, I mean,
produced.
this is the thing too. Like if you picking up a Marvel and DC book, if you ever, like if you're a young artist or you're a writer or you're trying to start your own thing and you want to know if what you're making is competitive, then you need to pick up a Class A real comic book. And despite whatever anybody's opinion is about these companies, they know how to make a Class A real comic book, man. And if your stuff isn't going that direction or looking like that, then you probably want to stay independent and not go to Diamond,
Right.
because that's what works.
Yeah.
Right? But those guys, I mean, as much as it's hard for me to get into all this continuity, so they still make like beautiful comics. man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like I'm an art snob, so I don't even need the story half the time. Like if I like the art, I'll just
Right.
this.
I think that's what catches people's eyes first with comic books, anyways. I didn't get into comics till I met Daniel.
Oh, you're
Or actually, he
You're
just
friends.
he
Friends
just
making
started
you.
like getting. He just started getting into it when we first started dating. Like
Reading
right?
heavily.
Yeah.
Like, reading heavily. Yeah.
And then.
Oh, so you guys kind of got into it together.
Pretty much a little bit, yeah.
But I read like more of like the newer stuff, like Image is and anything new that comes out, just because there's way too much to keep up with if I go back.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
So Paper Girls is like my
that one's
number
fun.
one right now. And then Reborn was a really good run that we liked.
Which one is Reborn?
Reborn. Who wrote? Mark Miller wrote that one,
Okay.
and then Greg Capullo. Greg Capullo.
Oh man, I didn't get to pick that one up, man.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was
See,
phenomenal.
Capullo's been killing it since the 90s, man. Like he took up S-Force when Liefeld left.
Yeah. Great. I mean, the artwork on it is great. I had a chance to meet him. I had him sign the first issue.
Oh, that's awesome.
But the storyline was really, really. I think it's only 6 issues long. I'm hoping that it continues. But even as itself as a mini little story arc, it's awesome. It's a really, really good.
Well, see, that's what
fun ride.
Like. This is like my as a new. Well, I'm not a new creator, I guess, but as a guy coming back into the fold to doing things, I like that idea of just a self-contained.
Yeah.
You know, like if I didn't have to break up issues to make money to print a trade, I would just go straight to the trade.
Right.
You know, like here's your novel. Thank you. Please read that.
Yeah.
You know, like that to me is like the trade phenomenon. That to me is like one of the best things that's happened to the industry. Period.
Yeah. I'm super impatient. I can't. Sometimes it sucks to wait a whole month to see what's happening in the next chapter. So having the trade, it's kind of nice. You get a whole story all in one. But yeah, the story of Reborn altogether. I hope there's a continuation. If not, it's solid as is. I highly recommend it.
You guys read like someone I really love it. The artwork is crazy. Pretty Deadly. If you guys read that
Deadly.
One. Kelly Sue DeConnick, and then I forget the name of the artist, man, but she does some trippy stuff.
Really?
And it's like a weird Western thing about life and death, and kind of runs on the cusp of World War I. And it's just it's a trip. But there's like 2 volumes, and they're pretty solid. They're trippy. I mean, that's the cool thing about what Image is doing. That was the cool thing when Image started. Like it was all these guys that drew different that come together and make this cool little thing, and it was still very of its time though, right? Like I mean, everything was superheroes, everything, were team books. It wasn't like, they were just taking what was already selling and putting their own spin on it, right? But now you got like Paper Girls, and the stylistic differences on the publishers outside of Marvel and DC is just like I think it's great. Like it's like a new golden age for comics, it's almost too great because now you really got to come home bringing it if you're gonna be making a comic, because nobody's sleeping on you now. Everybody is like, oh, we went to school for this. We've like I know a lot, and but that's because it's a nerd to me. But there's people that like paid for the educations to put this stuff down, and they're coming out the gate way better than guys were coming out the gate 10, 15, 20 years ago.
I mean, if you look at Paper Girls as for an example, there's just so much that goes into it. Just the coloring on that book alone stands out. I mean, it's just amazing.
Nuts.
It's just a certain like color scheme, like the pinks and the purples and like some of I don't know. I really love the artwork in there.
It's different. It's hands down.
And I'm always Back to the Future is my like favorite movie of all time. So the whole like future like back and forth like that's all me. I and same with Reborn. I think they kind of do like
a little flashback.
It's like an after death kind of like thing. But I guess
back in the day, Capullo had his own creator-owned project. It was called Creed.
Creed. Okay.
It was just really bizarre, but it was like everything he liked to draw too. That was the Creed character was just massive. It just veiny, just all and it wasn't even McFarlane inking it. It was still Capullo, and it looked like McFarlane was all over that stuff.
Yeah.
And they did 2 parts to it, but each was like 3 issues for each one of them and everything. It was just bizarre. Like there was like any redeeming quality to any of the characters too much, but it was just this hard little sci-fi, cool little, and it's. I mean, I picked it up for the art. And the story, it works.
Yeah.
But it's more before like, oh wow, I can't believe this guy drew this thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, you want to finish up with the last couple of questions? I guess we could all answer it too, since we're So we'll 3 questions, and you go ahead and answer
so
first.
it's pick 3 characters. 1 you would take to coffee. 1 you would share a dorm room with, and then the 3rd one. Who you would take to the bar.
The real question is, who would want to share a dorm room with me? Well, I would take Popeye to the bar.
Popeye to the bar?
Okay.
Fantastic
Awesome.
answer.
We would have a good time. Probably go to jail, but me and Popeye would be chilling.
That is a great answer. Popeye. Yes, okay.
Who would I room with?
College dorm, we're talking...
Oh, we're talking college dorm?
College dorm. I mean, it's a little more personal. It's a little more messy. It's a little more of an experimental phase.
Young Bruce Wayne. He would never be there, and he would have all the cool toys that I would just have at my leisure, because he would be doing his trading thing.
He's coming again. You would have Mr. Pennyworth, Alfred, helping you out with taking care of the room.
Yeah.
Got a butler.
I'd be chilling,
100%
man.
of the time.
And
Damn
Alfred
it,
would
that's a
love me
good
because I
answer,
would
too.
appreciate him,
Yeah.
unlike Bruce, who's
At
just
least,
sick,
at
man.
least, at least
Like,
tip.
Did you
Hold
read
on.
that? What was the one that
Who's
we
tipping?
read with Alfred?
Oh, that was the annual Batman
one.
annual. I
Did
think
you
it was
read that
annual
one?
No, I didn't read that.
3.
Why was Alfred finally clowning on him? Or what?
I mean, it was.
I
just,
like it when they write
kinda.
Alfred when he's just tired of Bruce's shit.
You know what? And that's usually how most of the Alfred stories start. Like, man, this kid again. But it's a really good, touching, like bonding relationship.
My
comedy.
favorite Alfred is the Frank Miller Batman and Robin.
Pissed off Alfred.
And because the whole book is just this pulpy, trashy fucking thing. I mean, it is. It's just horrendous. I mean, but I love that stuff. Like, I'm a huge fan of B movies and 80s and 90s action, like Trespass, Red Heat, Tango and Cash is like one of my favorite fucking movies, you know, because it's just so bizarre. It's so ridiculous. That movie. But when Frank Miller writes this Alfred and that Jim Lee drew it. It came out a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't even finish, but his
No.
Alfred was like the best character of the whole thing, man, because he's boxing it there.
Yes.
And he's talking shit on Bruce. And like when he brings Robin home, Bruce is like, oh, you don't get to eat. You can kill what you want to eat. It throws him like an axe, you know?
Yeah.
And when Bruce comes back, you know, Robin's eating a hamburger. And Alfred just lays into it. It's like, dude, I'm not going to let this kid starve. Like, he just starts talking shit. He's got a cool pose holding on to Vicky Vale and shit. Best Alfred ever.
Such a great, infamous run.
It didn't even get to be finished. Like,
No.
I was like so
It was up
disappointed.
to like issue 9 or 10, and then it just stopped. Like that was it.
Because
There
you got
was
this
no more.
crazy, just nobody's gonna stop me from writing anything anymore, Frank Miller. And then you have Jim Lee, who was like probably some of the best Jim Lee Batman I've seen. Man.
Phenomenal.
Like that artwork,
Really
there
good stuff.
was just killing it, man.
All right, Dana. So who would you take to coffee? Who would you share?
Wait, did you
college
pick your
trip-
coffee one?
Oh,
no, I
coffee,
did
yeah.
not pick my coffee one. Oh my god, who would I take?
Popeye, you got young Bruce.
That's
who
like,
would you drink coffee
I'm like, who
with?
do I want to see in the morning for
Yeah,
coffee?
who would I want to see in the morning
Mhm.
for coffee? Preferably a lady.
Good.
Let's see. So we're going for a lady. Oh man, I'd rather drink with her though. Let me see. Who would I chill and have coffee with, man? Wow.
Yeah, you don't have like a favorite girl.
I have a few, but I don't think they're coffee drinkers, man. Which is probably why they're my favorite. 'Cause I was gonna say Red Sonja, like she's one of my favorite
Okay.
characters. She's just such a great character. I don't think they've ever written her well. I think maybe what's her name? Gail Simone probably wrote her the best. You know, and I still need to find her more of the trades for that. But she was writing like a real,
Okay.
like, I'm a barbarian. I drink.
Yeah.
You know, like she was great. Like I would party with that bitch all day.
Oh, you said you like Conan, so that's like a female.
Yeah, it's like a female Conan.
There you go.
But I'm trying to think, you know, what ladies I would kick it with now, man.
Well, maybe this is the next morning. With
Yeah, it sounds like.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about that.
I'm
Sounds
just
like the
kidding.
next.
I was just. That's an even longer list. Can I put some real people in there too? You know?
Yeah, whatever you want. Whatever you want.
If I do coffee with a comic character, I'll probably have it with there's a character called Crazy Cat from the 1919s, 1912s by
Okay.
Okay.
artist named George Harriman. And Crazy Cat is considered one of the greatest comic strips ever created of all time. So if you ever
Wow.
get a chance to look at it, it's beautiful. I mean, it's pure cards. Hard to believe some of these things were laid out and made in 1918, 1912.
Really?
That's
and
awesome.
shit. It's almost like it's like Winsor McKay's Little Nemo is just technically so proficient and wonderful. And then you have Crazy Cat, just came out at the same time, which is just this huge artistic expression of just cartooniness and hatchiness. And
Yeah.
it's like the same level, just different directions, right?
Huh.
But that cat is this little ambiguous. Sometimes it's a girl, sometimes it's a guy, but it's just a funny little cat. I would chill with that cat, man.
That's
I
a
would
good way
chill
to
with
start
that
the day.
cat, dude. 'Cause
Awesome.
He's just a weird little. And I like cats, man. We would just sit there quietly. We'd say some random shit. I drink some coffee. We'd be like, all right, dude, we're out.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. All right, D, what would you got? Coffee? College dorm.
Okay, so when I think of
bar.
coffee, I'm like, okay, I'll go out with like a professor, someone of like great knowledge. But The first one that came to mind was Professor Xavier. But
Oh, that's a
Yeah,
good
but you
one.
wouldn't have to talk to him. He would just be reading.
I
and-
know, just reading my mind.
It'd be like a very silent, good,
So
satisfying quiet.
maybe not.
It's a very peaceful conversation, Professor. He's like, I knew you'd say that.
Or like Doctor Strange or something.
All
I
right.
guess.
There you go. There you go. I didn't even think of that one. That would be good.
And then I don't know. I was thinking like okay, so if I shared a dorm room, I don't want to share with a guy because guys
we're
are
horrible
probably
slobs.
like really messy.
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah, it's not even an
like,
argument from us. from
No,
now
we're
on.
like,
yeah, we're
yeah,
horribly
we're
messy.
totally
like Jean Grey.
All right.
I thought of Rogue first, but then I'm like, I don't want her
and
to
then-
steal like my powers or something.
Yeah, but Jean
Oh,
Grey's
okay.
like great. Like if you need the remote, like Jean, can you give me the remote?
Oh yeah.
Perfect.
Yes. I
Perfect.
can learn from her.
Jean, pass me that joint.
And then, okay, going to a bar. Oh, I always pick Bruce Wayne or Batman for this because I
Batman.
want to ride the Batmobile. And I like
So-
to drink classy cocktails, so we're going to a nice lounge.
Specifically, he has to be Batman, so he's got to suit up in his Batman
Yeah, not Bruce
suit.
Wayne, but Batman. 'Cause-
Batman.
But Batman is broke. He can't buy you no drinks.
Oh, well.
You get the Batmobile though. Like that's gangster.
Oh yeah, for sure. Somebody's gonna buy you drinks if you show up in a
Yeah.
Batmobile. Either way.
Oh, like all day. Dude, there's some chick show up at the bar. Batmobile. I'm like, dude, I got you all night. Like I don't even know who you are, but you showed up in the Batmobile. We're gonna kick it.
Right?
Please don't be a bitch. Please be super nice. See, even in my fantasy, something goes wrong.
All right, let's
Oh my
see.
gosh.
I'm gonna kind of go the same lines as, I'm gonna have coffee with Yoda in the morning.
Oh, Yoda.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
just gonna be some intense conversations
Just
It's like some
and
good
feel rejuvenated.
spiritual grounding
yeah.
right there. Get you going in the
Mhm.
right
He'll
direction,
help me.
man.
He'll help me pick out my shoes. Like make all the tough decisions. He's gonna be right there with me. Let me see.
The shoes
College.
pick you,
That's a,
or
that's a
something he'll
big.
The shoes pick you. That's what you're gonna say. You're gonna be more frustrated. You're like, fuck this coffee. I don't even know what you should just answer my question. You little green
Let me
mother.
see. I think if I had and then the college dorm, I'm gonna still semi-steal your answer. I'm gonna do Doctor Strange, so he'll
Oh,
be
and
able to
then
help me in all
oh.
my exams, and then he'll put like a mad light show party for all the college dorm
Dude,
parties.
Doctor Strange would be dope to have in college because you'd be like, dude, Doc,
No, you
this is experimental age.
Yeah, you gotta hook us
Fuck
up.
me
Let's
up.
see- Yeah,
Just
he'll
be
turn
like,
anything into like a
"Shroomius, please."
hallucinogenic. Yep.
Yeah, you just
Uh,
be like, you wouldn't even remember college at that point.
I was gonna say the Ninja Turtles would be cool, like neighbors in the dorm room.
Oh, that's it. No, I'm, sorry, no. I'm taking the Ninja Turtles out for the bar. Yeah, we're taking the whole crew out to the bar.
They're teenagers.
Oh man,
They'd be sitting in the car, mad at you.
They'll
I just
have
like the
pizza ready
idea
for
of
you.
like me and like 4 big turtles chilling at the
They
bar
would,
top.
they would find you in front of a liquor store and be like, hey,
For
homie,
sure,
can you
hanging
buy
out.
me some beer?
We'll be brown bagging it for sure. Fantastic. All right, man. Thank you so much for coming
Yeah, no, this was great.
and
man. Thank you
hanging
for
out
having
with
me.
us. Oh yeah, we
And
definitely
he
have to
also
show up.
drew.
This is a
Deadpool.
special,
I don't know if you guys
commission
can
piece
see
for
it.
us.
Yeah.
Deadpool.
It
We'll
might
see
be
if we
hard
can
to
zoom
see.
in. Yeah, we greatly appreciate that. We're
Yeah,
gonna have
no
to get you
worries.
sign that for
Oh,
us.
yeah,
too.
Amazing.
All you guys can find me on Instagram at
Yeah.
Johnny Inc. and JohnneInk because I like to make things difficult.
All right.
And
we'll put it on our tab.
Facebook, Draw Hard.
Okay, so
Studios.
Instagram, Facebook.
Draw Hard Studios.
yeah.
You do have a store you can purchase some of your work.
Oh
on,
yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah. It's an eBay store. You just
Okay.
type in Johnny Inc. on eBay, and I show up there. And it's got right now it's only got like 5 or 6 sketch covers, but I got a new artist coming. Oh, man, I should announce that. I got a new artist I'm working with. I'm writing for that's coming. Hopefully next week I'll be announcing that for
Cool.
Okay.
everybody, and he'll have some stuff I'll be putting on the store too. So.
Awesome. Before we go, is there anywhere else we can catch you? Do you have any other events that you're doing soon or later on?
Well, I will. I just talked to Chris. I will be here once a month now to do the drawings. for people.
Fantastic.
So that'll be fun to come see everybody once a month.
Okay.
Right now it's tentatively the second Wednesday of every month, and then I'll be doing Comic-Con Revolution in March. I mean, not March, May.
It's Ontario.
Yeah,
right?
Ontario.
Okay.
And then before that will be Free Comic Book Day. And that's kind of just where I'm at right now.
Awesome.
Like it's like I just got back into doing things again after a couple years, so
Awesome.
just kind of trying to rebuild. Do
For
the thing,
sure.
So,
Awesome, man. All right, John, thank you so much for hanging out, and we
yeah.
appreciate your
Thank
time.
you guys for having me.
And then hopefully we'll come back and do this soon. and then we'll see who we'll go out and have a drink with next time, or better yet, have a coffee in the morning with.
Well, hopefully I get invited back for when the drinking happens.
Yeah.
I
Next
know.
time we'll have a little more of a coffee or some type of cocktails we'll be sipping on. But thank you so much. Now we're spilling bottles all over the place.
We have been
guys.
drinking, we were just lying. to everyone.
You just spilled over the bottle of tequila.
Thank you for listening to the Alter Ego Lounge podcast. Stay connected and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. For more information or coffee catering services, please visit us at alteregolounge.com or email us at info@alteregolounge.com.